So we literally got complimented by the Shonen Jump ex-chief editor and the mangaka of Fist of the North Star. This is how I won first place in a manga competition for the publisher of Record of Ragnarok. Hey guys, I'm Brandon Chen. I'm a professional author of novels, manga, webtoons, and video games. Make sure to subscribe and smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Anyway, so I won a massive manga competition in Japan, but the first question you might be asking is, why do these competitions even exist? So in my career, I've created manga outside of Japan. But in order to serialize in Japan itself, you have to typically go through a process with the editorial team at a publisher like Shonen Jump. So traditionally, you will get picked up by an editor by doing manga competition, so by winning awards or just showcasing really talented work. There's a lot of different ways to get scouted these days. You know, a lot of people are getting found through the internet, etc. But this used to be the only and traditional way to get into large publication magazines. So anyway, there's a really big manga competition in Japan called Silent Manga Edition. It is the largest international manga competition kind of in the world. I think it's also just the largest for comics as well. And basically, it's a competition where you have to create a manga. It's a one-shot, silence, which means that there's no dialogue, and it has to be under 17 pages. So when I saw this, I thought this was a really cool opportunity to do something on the side and potentially get published in Japan. So my first entry was called A Forgotten Melody with Natalia Batista, who was the artist. This was my first silent manga one-shot ever, and I actually got nominated for an award, which was pretty nice. However, I think that my issue with this submission is that I was dealing with too large of a concept. It was way too big of an idea, and it's really hard to cram such a big idea into just a short amount of pages. So that's why I think it didn't win the larger award. So for the next try, 6 months later, I decided to try a simpler concept. So I entered with Please Come Home with Natalia Batista again. And the character model is literally just my dog. I self-inserted the dog of my family into this manga. And it was a really simple concept. It's about a dog that is waiting for its owners to come home. And I have a pretty decent plot twist in there. This is known as Ten in the Kyusho Tenketsu manga structure. I talk more about that type of structure in my manga writing class for beginners. If you're interested, check the link in my description. But yeah, I thought this entry was actually pretty decent. I'm surprised it didn't go farther. Also got nominated, but maybe the empathy for the dog wasn't strong enough, and maybe the emotional conveying was also not strong enough to win the award. That's my theory. I also did a separate entry called The Boundary Stop with my friend Roy Xavier, who I just met, and this was my first project to do with him. And this concept was about a boy and a girl waiting at a bus stop. They're waiting at a bus stop. The bus stop line is divided by the setting is actually divided by the bus stop line, and the boy is waiting on a desert side, and the girl is waiting on a very beautiful and lush side. And they never cross this line, and it's a little bit about this little cute interaction between these two characters. Anyway, the manga wasn't even evaluated. We got disqualified because we used photo bashing, and photo bashing, if you didn't know, is you can use a photo or an image that is not copyrighted. Hopefully, you have the copyright, and you can basically turn it into manga backgrounds. It feels gives it a very realistic vibe, right? The issue was we used images that we didn't own, so that was illegal. So we got disqualified, which makes sense because we didn't follow the rules and forgot. So I waited another 6 months for the next competition, and we entered again. This was just me and Roy Xavier with Dear Champion. And this time we won the editorial award, which means that the editorial team in Japan really liked our project. It's another really simple concept. It's about a weightlifter who is trying to win a weightlifting competition, but he gets his inspiration and his drive from his grandma. And again, that is very me self-inserting, because the reason that I am a writer and the person who inspired me the most as a child was my grandma as well. So actually, this project, I'm surprised we got the editorial award, because I thought that we could have done a little bit better, or I could have written it a little bit better. So there's a few things. One, the plot twist of the one shot was not strong enough. There was not really a big plot twist in this one, and I was pretty weak on that. The concept was cute, the execution was cute and enjoyable, but there was not a strong plot twist for the story. I think that also my character's motivation was not strong enough. Like, I didn't convey very clearly why the weightlifter wanted to win this weightlifting competition. It was just inferred that he wanted to win and he was going through a struggle of some sort of not being able to physically lift the weight. You know, and I think it's really difficult to actually keep all these things when you're doing a silent manga. You only have 17 pages, there's no dialogue, which means that there's no exposition that you can use to really tell any of this. So you have to use a lot of panels in art to convey what it is, that the plot twist or the character motivation, right? So that's why you have to really craft your panels very carefully and masterfully, and that's why this competition is very good for mangaka to be scouted, right? Finally, in this last entry, I think it was another 6 months, so this is the most recent entry. I entered my future with a new friend of mine called Comipa. We just met, and so we wanted to try out our own dynamic through the silent manga audition. And he's actually a professional mangaka that has worked in Japan as well, so he's quite good. He's never serialized before, so this was, you know, an interesting opportunity for him, I think. And this work actually followed a basic premise as well. It's about a young girl who follows the goals of what other people want rather than her own. Again, this is me self-inserting because I was once again a finance slash tech bro, following the dreams of a lot of other people, or goals rather. But what I really wanted to always do in my life is to be an author and to make manga and webtoons, right? And I think one key tip I can always give to you guys is that when writing something for a one-shot, it's always better to choose something that is a very small concept. It's far easier to expand on an idea than to condense one, especially in manga. So like, I've done one-shots such as Icarus Rising, where I took really complex ideas and tried to make them into one-shots, and actually what ends up happening is, you know, it feels really rushed, or the ideas that you thought were super awesome in concept, they don't get enough screen time, which means that, you know, you don't execute it as well as a result of that. So key idea, start small, start with a small idea, build it out and expand for your one shot. And actually, I would say that for your story as well. Any sort of story, you start small, build out. But yeah, I think our story and art was very relatable and compelling for the audience. So we actually ended up winning the Grand Prix prize, which was very exciting. It's actually not been awarded in a few years, I guess. I don't know why. I guess like they haven't found, no one's won it reached that level, I don't know, but we're kind of very surprised but also honored to have received such an award, right? And we're just glad that people appreciate the project. Honestly, it's very exciting. So what's going to end up happening is that the work is obviously going to be published in Japan, and we're going to be working directly with an editor from Japan to try and get our more work out into Japan as well, which is very exciting. So here are some comments from the judges, which were manga professionals. Nobuhiko Hori was the old chief editor at Shonen Jump, and Tetsuo Ohara also made a very popular manga called Fist of the North Star. So we literally got complimented by the Shonen Jump ex-chief editor and the mangaka of Fist of the North Star. So that's pretty crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna let you guys know how this whole serialization pitching to Japan also goes. I'll let you guys know, keep you updated. Obviously, I'm serializing like 10 series right now, like with Webtoon and Tapas and Voice Me, etc. So I think it might be a little hard in the short term for me to find the time to serialize in Japan, even though that is my dream. But yeah, I mean, if you're subscribed to me, you're gonna see what happens in the future. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're interested in learning more about how to create manga yourself, there's a class link in the description for writing manga for beginners. I've also linked a book that is also very useful by the creator of Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, which is all about creating manga. And it's honestly the manga Bible that I consider to be very useful for creators. It's called Manga in Theory and Practice. Anyway, click the link in my description for both of those. You can also find the links to all my submissions for the Silent Manga Edition down there as well if you want to read them. Thanks so much for watching. Drop a like, and I'm going to see you guys next week. Peace.